It's the second coming they won't televise, with checkpoints, drones, and tear gas skies. He'd love to have peace, wishes peace was at hand. But if you have peace, you can't steal the land. You're now watching the Palestinian Jesus Show. And here's PJ.
Hello, this is Eve. And now it's time for a special message from the adorable Palestinian baby Jesus.
Why do many Christian Zionists seem so blind, irrational, and ungodly? This is a report I would have given at my nursery school if it hadn't been bombed by Israel. I rarely criticize people's religious beliefs because I know many sincere and compassionate individuals who hold them. But when it comes to certain Christian Zionists, I find myself filled with frustration and anger. Their motives seem driven not by Christ-like, genuine compassion or justice, but by blind, irrational objectives rooted in a distorted interpretation of Scripture. Many evangelicals have aligned themselves politically with supporters of Israel, not out of love or understanding, but as part of a reckless quest to trigger biblical prophecy and bring about the end of days. They are so fixated on the idea that the Jewish return to Israel will spark Armageddon that they seem willing to support any action, any policy, no matter how brutal, unjust, or ungodly, to hasten this catastrophic event. This isn't about doing good or seeking justice. It's about fulfilling a misguided, fanatical desire for destruction and chaos. Their obsession with biblical narratives has blinded them to the real human suffering happening in Palestine, where innocent people are being ethnically cleansed and displaced. They seem completely deaf to the cries of those caught in the crossfire, more interested in playing out their apocalyptic fantasies. If only these believers looked beyond their narrow interpretations, perhaps they would see how dangerous and inhumane their pursuits truly are. Instead, they cling to their irrational objectives, seemingly incapable of recognizing the disaster they are helping to set in motion. The endgame appears less like divine justice and more like a reckless pursuit of chaos, a destructive obsession rooted in mythic fantasies rather than reality. One can imagine a moment when the prophecies they've so blindly embraced collide with the brutal truths of the world, their ignorance laid bare as chaos unfolds, and innocent lives are lost in the fallout. It's a sobering reminder of how dangerous fanaticism and irrational beliefs can be when they override conscience and reality. This is Palestinian baby Jesus, signing off. Have a good day.
Hello, and now a word from an important sponsor, the American-Israeli Public Affairs Committee.
Democracy. Such a delicate, succulent thing. So young, so idealistic, so easily bled. You know, centuries ago, I had to sneak through castles at night to control kingdoms. Now, I just cut a check. One check, and a senator grovels like a peasant begging for garlic. I am Count Apacula, eternal servant of the foreign interest. I have, how do you Americans say? A pack. Yes, Apacula. It is undead money. It never dies. I whisper in the ears of your noble House of Representatives, and they become my familiars, obedient, docile, swearing loyalty to a nation not their own, wagging their tongues in unison. Our greatest ally. Hard to keep from laughing, isn't it? I drop golden coffins full of campaign donations and watch as the once principled men of the Senate fold like the parchment of the Constitution. I take that back. I'm not sure any of these weasels were ever principled. And those who resist, those who dare disobey me, they find themselves facing a primary challenger with the vigor of a young vampire, funded by millions, with ad buys thicker than fog in Transylvania. Poof, the rebel is gone, replaced by another smiling puppet, red tie, white teeth, no spine. I do not drink their blood. No, no. I drain their will, their independence, their sense of country. That is the vintage I savor. I do not threaten. I merely suggest. Vote yes or vanish. Support the occupation, or your career ends at dawn. It's not blackmail if it's just the cost of doing business. You see, in the land of the free, the one who controls the purse controls the puppet. And I, Count Apacula, am very rich. Did I say very rich? I meant very, very, very rich. So remember, my familiar little congressperson, when you feel the chill of fear down your neck, when your inbox floods with concerned donors, when a nice young intern from a pro-democracy group hands you a script and a check, I'll be watching. And if you vote wrong, I will primary your soul, and you will never see these halls of Congress again.
And now it's time for a very special musical guest brought back by our own Palestinian Jesus for the show today. This beautiful lady we are all related to, so please welcome Lucy, who will be singing her lovely new song, Monkey Love. Enjoy.
I dream the dreams of mortal men, each one slips through my hands. I build my castles by the sea, then watch them sink into the sand. We've marched 1,000,000 miles or more, cursed by reason's flame. We sowed our seeds from shore to shore, then sang ourselves to shame. Ooh, you're my monkey love. Come out and play my monkey love. Come out, my love. Come out and play my monkey love. Come out and rise above. Heaven's never saved the wise, it's dancing in our bones. And newer beasts will learn to walk long after we've turned to stone. Before the sun explodes. Come out and play my monkey love before it fades to gray. We'll dream the dreams of mortal men, then watch them drift away. And who'll inherit all this dirt? Will they laugh the way we joked? And who will walk this earth again before the sun explodes? Here's to the apes who lit the fire, to the hands that shaped the wheel, to Darwin sketching tangled lines and whispering what is real. To every grunt and lullaby, to every stone we hurl, we climb down just to climb back up and try to name the world. Come out and play my monkey love. Come out before we go. Come out and play my monkey love before the sun explodes.
This is Leonard Rabinowitz of UPI. In a surprising development, a young child identified as Palestinian baby Jesus was reportedly detained by Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents Thursday morning at a Columbia University-affiliated daycare. The child, accompanied by his mother Mary and stepfather Joseph, were taken shortly after baby delivered a controversial speech critical of Christian Zionists' blind support for Israel. The incident occurred shortly after baby Jesus, believed to be a preschooler, expressed views condemning the political influence of Christian Zionist groups and their unwavering backing of Israel's genocidal policies. According to witnesses, the child's speech was part of a nursery school project at Columbia on religious and political perspectives. Mary and Joseph were reportedly there to advocate for Palestinian rights and highlight the importance of human rights and justice. However, authorities intervened, citing immigration violations leading to the child's and their detention. Civil rights organizations and advocates for immigrant and refugee rights have voiced concern over the incident, condemning what they see as an unjust detention rooted in political repression and racial profiling. Every child has the right to express their thoughts and beliefs without fear of detention, stated Ana Torres, director of the New York Civil Liberties Union. Columbia University student groups have called for transparency regarding the detention, emphasizing the importance of safeguarding academic freedom and free speech, especially among toddlers. The university, however, immediately issued a statement condemning baby's views and urging officials to ensure the safety of all of its Jewish students and their families. As of now, baby remains in detention with ongoing efforts underway to secure his release. We will keep you informed of further developments in the matter.
Solomon here. And now it's time for a panel discussion with our own liberal white boy. Today he will be joined by leading baby Palestinian Jesus analyst, the Queen of Sheba, for a dive into the baby Palestinian Jesus controversy. Take it away, LWB.
Welcome to today's episode. We're going to take a quick look at a provocative commentary critiquing certain Christian Zionist beliefs, as seen through the eyes of a figure called Palestinian baby Jesus. Joining me today is the insightful and beautiful baby Jesus analyst, the Queen of Sheba.
Thanks for having me, handsome. It's great to be here, and I think this is going to be a really thought-provoking discussion. The material we're examining today gives a very pointed, critical perspective. So, our focus will be on understanding those arguments, not endorsing them. Even though we both agree with baby, we will be as objective as we can.
Exactly. So let's dive right in. Right off the bat, the commentary sets a critical tone and questions the motives behind the actions of some Christian Zionists, suggesting that their drive isn't about compassion, but rather about fulfilling biblical prophecy.
That's right. According to baby Jesus's take, this drive to fulfill prophecy comes across as what he calls a reckless pursuit of chaos. He's not mincing words here. The material claims these motives are blind, irrational, and ungodly, attributing them to what he sees as a distorted reading of Scripture, rather than a Christ-like sense of compassion or a commitment to justice.
That's pretty strong language. So what does this perspective say about how this interpretation actually influences real-world actions or alignments?
Baby Jesus argues that many evangelical Christian Zionists politically align themselves with staunch supporters of Israel. The critique here is that this isn't driven by love for people or genuine understanding of the politics at play, but by an almost fanatical desire to help bring about what they see as the fulfillment of biblical prophecy. Specifically, events leading to Armageddon and the so-called end of days.
And according to this commentary, that pursuit of prophecy seems to have pretty serious consequences.
Very much so. The material asserts that, in their fixation on hastening these prophetic events, some are willing to support any action or policy, no matter how brutal or unjust, to help speed things along. Baby Jesus explicitly calls this a quest to bring about catastrophe, not a mission rooted in justice or goodness.
There's also the claim that such single-minded focus on prophecy leads to blindness. Can you elaborate on that critique?
Absolutely. The commentary contends that this obsession with prophecy has blinded these believers to the real suffering happening on the ground in Palestine. Baby Jesus accuses them of ignoring or being deaf to the cries of innocent people who are caught in the crossfire, allegedly being displaced or even subjected to ethnic cleansing. Instead, he says, their attention is consumed by apocalyptic narratives.
There's even a direct plea in the material for believers to look beyond what's described as a narrow interpretation of Scripture, right?
Yes. There's a whole section where he expresses a kind of lament, calling for Christians to recognize the real human costs and to think carefully about the impact of their beliefs when they play out in the world. It's a plea to reconsider the consequences of prioritizing prophecy over compassion.
So what's the ultimate conclusion or warning being delivered here?
Baby Jesus' closing point is that this whole approach, in his view, doesn't lead to divine justice, but to chaos, a destructive obsession rooted in fantasy rather than reality. His big warning is about the danger of fanaticism and irrational belief, especially when they override conscience and real-world facts.
Wow, it's definitely a strong and unsettling perspective. And as we said at the top, our conversation today has just been about understanding the arguments presented in this commentary, not making a broader statement ourselves, even if we agree with every damn thing he says.
Absolutely. And Baby really leaves listeners with a powerful question. What happens when deeply held beliefs or prophecies collide with real-world consequences, when human suffering is at stake? It's an invitation to consider how our interpretations of faith intersect with the lived experiences of others.
Something for all of us to think about, for sure. That wraps up today's episode. Thanks so much for joining us, my queen.
Thanks for having me, LWB. It's been a meaningful conversation.
And that's it for the show today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Next week will be a special episode. We will focus on the Indiana fever and, more specifically, my new unilateral love interest, Caitlin Clark. So be sure to tune in. Have a great day.